Sayo Knights, we are back with episode 7 of Twisted Wonderland, and this is probably my favorite episode so far, because what do you mean you're telling me that Riddle OVERBLOT? What is this OVERBLOT? And why does it look like the monster from like episode 3 when they go into the mine? What is going on in this world? I have so many questions, like, what is the thing in the mine? Because it resembles a dwarf. So was that like one of the 7 dwarves that overblotted? Like, what's going on? And why is Riddle's new design so insanely cool? And it's like a transformation, and now he can summon these monsters. And like the headmaster did mention that students can overblot. So has something similar happened in the past with this? Are we going to see more characters overblot in the future? Like, how are they going to even defeat Riddle and like reverse the effects of overblot? Like, I hate to just get straight into it, but you can't just tell me that we end on a cliffhanger and it's just straight up, oh yeah, you know the little bits of darkness that's being infected in the wand, the visuals of that was all symbolizing Riddle being overcome with the darkness that comes, like the negative energy that comes with, you know, using too much magic, being too unstable. And that's where we got to this point. I mean, Riddle was gonna crash out. He was reaching a crash out point for sure. But I was not expecting that. I was expecting more. He would go like, be like super angry and lash out like he did. But to like straight up overblot and have this transformation, like, and again, I don't know anything because I am an anime only. I don't know anything about the books or the games. Let me preface that if you haven't heard this already. But what the heck, dude? Like, you can't just drop that, because the last time I've heard blot be used was, and this is for me, I grew up on the game Epic Mickey. I think Epic Mickey is one of the greatest things that Disney has done in terms of video games. It's like up there with Kingdom Hearts. But like, that's what it gives me vibes of. It's just like the blot, and like just visually, and just, you know, the idea behind like corrupting, you know, this perfect image. Even if this is like a Twisted Wonderland, you know, you still have this level of, I guess, stability and rules, but you can also have it taken over by this blot thing. So this begs the question, what happened to the original villains? Why are the blot, like, overblotting is a thing. Blot exists within this universe. What has been done to deal with this, right? How to fix overblot? But also, like, you can't just throw this at us. It's like a huge piece of lore, you know, that is just, you know, I wasn't expecting this big twist coming in episode 7. I know we're ramping up for the finale, but you can't just do that where you just drop it on us. You know what I mean? Where, well, we were queuing up for the climax. I was predicting that. I was not predicting this transformation, and I've said this before too. I do love the designs of the blot creatures, the blot monsters, the creatures being created from the negative energy that comes from, you know, Riddle, who overblots, right? I like the idea behind that, and we did get a little bit of context that Magistones do help alleviate and can help deal with overblotting to a certain extent. So we're gonna get a little bit more information about that, I'm sure, in the future, maybe in the next episode. But yeah, I mean, it's just like it's so interesting to me. It's like, okay, you have these awesome creature designs, which if I thought the 7 dwarves creature design was cool, with like the big head with like, you know, blot inside, and then how it looked like it was 3D for sure, but it looked like it was hand sketched, you know what I mean? Like it was like from a sketch artist in like an early Disney movie, like creating a character design, you know? or laying out basically what characters could look like, right? That's what it gives me vibes of. I like how it looked, and I will give them praise. I absolutely love how they basically one up that design from episode 3. So in episode 7 now, we get another blot creature, but it has like a heart-shaped container for a head, which is very fitting for the Queen of Hearts. I love it. So you had to call back to like sort of like the similar design, but this one is like, okay, this is definitely like a boss monster fight, like for sure. I could see this definitely being like a part of the game that they're pulling and bringing into the anime. So that's pretty hype. But like just the design of it, where it's Queen of Hearts all over, there's crystals forming. You know, you have Riddle's new design, which is just, I am a sucker for great character design, and when you have someone get corrupted, it's such an easy thing. Like I feel like I'm like a golden retriever in a sense when it comes to like getting excited for really cool shit. And for me, that cool shit is when you get a character who enters this dark phase, you know, the darkness consumes you. Like it may be also my look too, right? Because like I usually have my hair combed, but consider me overblotted right now with kind of the street look going on. But I love it when characters get this dark version of themselves, or they let like the darkness consumes. And I kid you not, I have been conditioned to like something like this ever since I love, like whenever I played like or watched Spider-Man, you know, Black Suit Spider-Man growing up, Spider-Man 3. That was what I loved. It's just, oh yes, you know, you have the original, which is cool. We love the original costume, but then you have like this dark, twisted version of yourself, and you have this like new design that's like kind of like darker and more sinister. I just kind of like that, and I've seen that growing up, where I have like, for example, I've seen in my favorite games like Epic Mickey. I love Epic Mickey because to me, it is a darker version of Mickey Mouse. And I think it's so cool because, you know, he's fighting against these monsters and it's this epic battle between Mickey and this giant blot creature. Like just the concept of that is so cool. And that's why it's one of my favorite games. But yeah, like just having like a dark version of Riddle. I'm like, I love Riddle's design because definitely, yeah, if you want a Queen of Hearts character and you want, you know, just the House Warden design, that's Riddle for sure. That everything about him screams Queen of Hearts, right? But like what I love about it is like he undergoes this transformation, and it's like, okay, now this is like what would happen if the, you know, if Riddle took on the symbiote, you know, where he transformed into this creature, right? So, and what's nice too is I also love it because in a sense, my favorite part about this transformation is whenever they transform, they get like insanely stronger. And like if you want an anime example too, it's like Sukuna, right, from Jujutsu Kaisen, and Ichidori, right, where Ichidori is strong on his own for sure as a Jujutsu sorcerer, but you know, when he gets taken over and possessed, like he becomes much stronger. I do like that part of the episode where, you know, Riddle, now he was strong. I mean, we laughed about it. He one-shot Ace and Deuce, and it wasn't even a fight. I laughed about it. He literally just went like, he walked up, cleaned house, and left, and basically embarrassed them. It was so funny to me because they were hyping up like, oh, this is gonna be like a pretty sick duel and like all this craziness going on. But yeah, I don't know. I love it. I love how he when he was like crashing out a little bit, he took up the roses and like threw them at at Ace. I thought that was funny. It's like dodge this, parry this, and he throws a rose bush at him. It's funny. But I'm glad Trey the goat came in clutch and is like starting to wake up and like, yeah, Riddle's kind of losing it. I gotta step up. So again, Trey the goat coming in clutch there and saving everyone, even if it is temporarily. I do. Well, okay, let me change gears a little bit. I do love the build up. Like, we talked a lot about the transformation, okay, with overblotting and stuff, okay, but I also want to mention sort of how we got to this point, and we got a lot more context with Riddle and his backstory, and I did appreciate that. I mentioned this last episode too. I think Twisted Wonderland does a really great job at having these central characters that you just focus on. And you have a lot of characters that you don't, of course. You have a lot of side characters. But for the ones that have the coolest designs, the one that, you know, are part of the main, like, driving the main story forward, I appreciate that tremendously because it allows you to not get caught up too much in the world and get confused about what's going on. But we're just focusing in on Ace, Deuce, Riddle, of course, and then KK and Trey. And just with those 5 within 7 episodes, we already get a lot of context. We know everything about their characters pretty much. And I love how now we're definitely delving into Trey, and Trey having that, you know, regret of not stepping up and being there for Riddle to the point where Riddle overblots because he kind of loses, he reaches his breaking point, right? And like we understand why Trey did what he did, but I also feel like what's nice here is we also see like there are reasons to why he didn't overstep, and it's just kind of who he is as a character. But I will say I did love the scene when he took him to his bakery, and you know, I love pastries, okay? I have a sweet tooth. One of my favorite things, so when I went to South Korea, like literally last month with friends, one of my favorite things to do when I was in South Korea was go to cafes with friends, because pastries and like coffee and like just everything about just the atmosphere of just going out and just being welcomed in that environment. I know it's a little bit different because it's more referencing cafes in Japan, but I would say it's a little bit similar with like just, you know, being like, because I want to explain it more as it's not necessarily the vibes of a Starbucks as much as Starbucks is. A lot of Starbucks can be seen as nice, but it's just a different scene when you go to a cafe when they have these like pastries, like a strawberry tart, for example, and they were describing, where it's not only just about taste and how good it is, but the presentation of it as well. And I think this is sort of like emblematic of, you know, Riddle's past, is where you see him and he's like forced on this strict diet, this strict, oh, you need to study, and parental abuse is insane. Like his mom is like a really bad person because she's forcing her son to like not live like a fulfilling life and to live basically like sheltered helicopter parent, to the point where now we're seeing overblotting as a result from this type of parenting. So I do like how you see the flashback of, you know, him with his disappointing cake. Any kid sees that cake and you see that, you just know, you're like, oh, I'm cooked. Like, I know we're following a strict diet, but seriously, like, no tarts allowed at all. And the fact that Trey's like, yeah, you can come, and then like the atmosphere changes and Riddle just lights up because he has this strawberry tart. And I of course, you know, it's dessert. We love dessert, guys. Like, as someone who's a sweet tooth, I love dessert, but I also feel like the reason why Riddle, and we saw this with the whole baking a new tart for Riddle with Ace, which is what I love, is like everything builds on each other in the season. But what I love is like Riddle, that wasn't just the tart tasting good, but it was also just, this was the first time he was able to choose for himself what he wanted, and he got to choose to be happy. And that was like a moment that was shown in the flashbacks and Trey in present day, where Trey's conflicted because Trey's seen Riddle happy. He wants Riddle to be happy, but Trey believes the way to make Riddle happy is by making sure that, you know, everyone follows the rules, even if Riddle oversteps, even if Riddle takes over, right? That's where it gets a little bit tough here, is, you know, they try their best. They try their best to make sure that, you know, everything goes smoothly, but unfortunately Riddle kind of loses it, and it's because no one's there for him. And I think it was very telling, and this is like human nature too. Everyone, I'm gonna say it right now as someone who has seen this happen a lot, especially in high school, and even now. I'm 24 and I see this at my job and like in my life out, like even with like friends and stuff, where I'll notice things even online. Humans are sheep, and I mean that as both a bad and good thing, where people are sheep because we need each other, and that's good because we get to find communities, whether it's like if you're into sports or anime or Twisted Wonderland, right? If you're part of these fan bases, you find each other, and we like to flock to each other because we love talking and being happy and, you know, sharing what we love, especially when it comes to art, story, characters, music, right? Our love of properties like Twisted Wonderland, for example, or Disney. But like, what's so interesting to me is we also see the negative effects of it, where all it takes is one brave person to speak up, and you can turn the tides, because once you have one person reinforcing it and you feel like you're not the only one with these problems, you can turn. And we saw that with the egg scene. That egg scene, that's what also I think was the signifier for the breaking point for Riddle, for overblotting, was being hit by that egg. Because once that egg hit him, everyone turned on it. And it just took one person saying, Ace is right. Ace didn't mean to have an angry mob come after Riddle. Ace was just trying to help Riddle wake up because Riddle was a tyrant, right? Riddle's kind of going crazy with all these rules and being super strict, right? But, you know, all it took was Ace being brave and saying that, but one person speaking up and saying, I agree with Ace. And you saw one by one, everyone turned on him. And that's what also made him lose it, was he has no one in his corner. And it's really tragic because Trey is trying to be in his corner. Kay, I think, is also trying to be in his corner. But the problem is because he shut himself out from everyone, because he's so focused on making sure rules are followed, as opposed to making sure that I think this is the problem with Riddle. The reason why he got to where he was because he's not focused on the rules per se. He is focused on, he's not focused on the house per se. He's more focused on the rules that help protect the house. And by focusing more on the rules than what the rules are supposed to protect, you get to that point where he's just attacking, you know, people at random, you know? And I think that's where we get this little bit of conflict with Riddle, is like, I think his priorities were backwards and he lost focus of the purpose of the rules themselves. It's good to follow them, but why do we have those rules? It's like asking that specific question is where I think he kind of lost his way. You know what I mean? But overall, yeah, great episode. Aside from, like, you know, Riddle kind of losing it and overblotting, and now we have this big boss fight, which I don't know what they're gonna do. I hope they're gonna like team up. It's gonna be cool. Maybe we'll see a team up with like Kay, Trey, Ace and Deuce, because now they have the collars off. And then, you know, maybe Yukin comes in with a finishing blow with his kendo stick, right? Yeah, do something. Do something. You can help out. Oh yeah, by the way, I did like Yukin speaking up and saying like, guys, cut it out. Again, Yukin is kind of like the GOAT in terms of just saying it, you know, just saying it straight. You know, he's a very plain matter of the fact, guys, you're going too far. I know Riddle messed up. Gotta knock it off, kind of. I appreciate that from Yukin's character, especially when a lot of the other characters are very eccentric. Yukin is very much the grounded type of person. Coming from Japan, too, as the isekai person, kind of makes sense why he acts the way he does. But yeah, overall, great episode. My favorite so far, just because it builds on itself. It throws in a new creature known as this creature made from the blot, right? Which is awesome. Like that's the question I had since episode 3. We got a payoff for that. Headmaster knows a lot about that, so hopefully we get more context about that. I wonder what kind of attacks that this creature will have, especially because it's borrowing, I think, or inspired from Riddle's powers. But yeah, we're gonna have that big boss fight, and I think the finale is next week, so we'll get a conclusion to that too. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys thought of episode 7 of Twisted Wonderland. As you can tell, I had a lot of thoughts about it. Like I just saw like the blot thing coming out and Riddle losing it and then transforming, and like I said, I'm a sucker for like a dark transformation, like a darker version of yourself, because hey, I grew up with that. That was me in high school and middle school. Was like, oh yes, the emo phase of like, you know, you're the dark swordsman from Sword Art Online, right? You're like Kirito, like on your own. I'm a beater, right? This is just something stupid like that. Yeah, no, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. But let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you guys next week for the finale of Twisted Wonderland, and maybe I'll make an announcement around that time. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited because I really like where the story is heading and where it's progressing. So that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I keep talking. I should end this right now. Yeah. Hi. Bye. Okay.